Hello, readers. Welcome to reading class with me, Miss Taylor, and Bob. She's my assistant, aren't you, Bob? Okay, you ready, Bob? We are going to read, and scholars, we are finishing our story about the Iditarod and Chad and his sled dogs and the team. Lesson 99, End of the Race. What do you think, Bob? She's excited to read the end of the race. You see yourself there, Bob? Okay. So let's see. We are on page 143 in our textbooks. So let's find column number 1. All right. Word 1 is anxious. What word? Word 2 is Angela. What word? Word 3 is curious. What word? Word 4 is insist. What word? And word 5 is demand. What word? Yeah. So if you demand something, you insist on that thing. I insist. It's like, you must do it. Bob, I insist you be my assistant for reading class. I insist. I demand. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty, let's read those the fast way. Anxious. Angela. Curious. Insist. Demand. Yep. All right. Let's go to column 2. In column 2, these words have more than one part, so we'll be careful to look at both parts. All right. Word 1 is aimlessly. What word? Yeah, when you do things aimlessly, you don't have a plan about what you're doing. So if you just went for a walk and you were just walking around aimlessly, you don't really have a destination. You're just kind of walking around without any real plan. All right. Let's see. Word 2 is lantern. What word? Yeah, and a lantern is a lamp that sends out light in all directions. It's a lantern. All right. Word 3 is arrangements. What word? Arrangements. Word 4 is surprise. What word? Word 5 is finisher. What word? And word 6 is congratulated. What word? Nice job. Yes. Okay. And let's go to column 3. In column 3, we have word 1 is victory. What word? Yeah. Victory. Oh. Sometimes Bob puts her paw up. Word 2 is award. What word? Yeah, word 3 is hero. What word? Word 4 is buddies. What word? Yeah, we're buddies. We're buddies. And, oh, we can't see word 5. Let's move Miss Taylor out of the way here. Word 5 is miserable. What word? Let's just see on. Miserable. Oh, and word 6 is fierce. What word? Yeah, fierce. Sometimes Bob puts it politics. Okay. All right, Bob, you're distracting me. You're distracting me from reading. Okay. Alrighty, let's see. So let's start part B, the end of the race. The end of the race, Bob. Oh, pause up. Pause up again. Okay, I gotta read. Bob is distracting me. Bob. Okay, the end of the race. Where am I? Okay, here we go. Let's get ready to read. Fingers ready. Hi. Chad's team was on the trail again. Siri Carlson was about half a mile ahead of Chad. Come on, you guys, Chad said to his team. If you want some company, we'll have to go faster than this. Mush, you sled dogs, mush. Chad pedaled with one foot to help make the sled go faster. The team had only 14 dogs in it, but they pulled hard. And before long, they caught up to Siri's team. Chad told her what had happened and how the dogs were able to pull the sled out of the water. She said, "You must have strong wheel dogs." "I do," Chad said, "although I don't think Chugger will be pulling sleds from now on." Chad and Siri reached checkpoint 19 about an hour later. They stayed there for 8 hours. Chad made arrangements for a plane to take Chugger back to Anchorage. He changed the gang line so that there was one dog in front of Butch and Denali. That dog was Buck. All right, so everybody, now how many dogs are on the gang line? Yeah, 15. And one dog did not have a partner. Which dog was that? Buck. And where was Buck? Yeah, right in front of Butch and Denali. So the picture shows how Chad changed the gang line. Oh, there's a picture in your book at the bottom of page 143. Ms. Taylor doesn't have it on her slides here, but you can look at the bottom of 143 to see how Chad changed the gang line, changed how it looked. After 8 hours of resting, Chad and his team went on the trail again. The weather was cold, but the air was clear and the dogs wanted to run. They made good time. So did Siri's team. Chad was in front of them for most of the trip to Nome. Chad saw the first signs of the town just after the sun had set the next day. Chad could hardly believe that he had been on the trail for 11 days. In some ways, it didn't seem that long. In other ways, it seemed as if he had been on the Iditarod Trail for as long as he could remember. So in some ways, it didn't really seem that long. And then in other ways, it seems like I've been on this trail forever. Siri finished ahead of Chad in the same order they started. She finished in 34th place. He finished in 35th place. He gave her a big hug. "You're a good musher," he said. "Thank you," she said. "It was a wonderful experience, and I hate to see it end." The words seemed strange. Chad thought how the cruel winds, the fierce weather, and the dangers make your days miserable. But when you cross that finish line, you know that you and your dogs worked as a team that battled the cold, the snow, the winds, and you won. You went over 1,100 miles in only 11 days. This victory was even sweeter to Chad when the race officials told him that the weather for this race had been worse than it had been since 1985. So the weather was really bad, and which made him seem like, wow, that's even more of an accomplishment because they made it through really bad weather. So everybody, in what place did Chad finish? Yep, 35th place. And how about Siri Carlson? 34th place. And do you think Chad was disappointed because he didn't finish in first or second place? It doesn't sound like it. So he didn't want to win the race. He didn't want to be first. Remember what his goal was? Yeah, his goal was just to finish the race. Just to be able to finish, whether he came in, first place or 30th place or the last place. He just wanted to finish. And did he meet his goal? Yep. All right, so if we look at the picture, it shows the finish line in Nome. Going under that arch is what the mushers dream about when they're on the trail. So they kind of imagine, just going through that finish line, and that helps them to get through those cold, snowy, miserable days. The plane from Nome landed in Anchorage the next day at about the same time the last finisher of the Iditarod was crossing the finish line. Every year, the last place team receives the Red Lantern Award. This year, the Red Lantern winner finished in 12 days, 4 hours. Well, that's really nice. So the person who finishes last gets a special award. It's kind of like, it's okay that you came in last. You finished the race. So they're just kind of celebrating everybody who finishes. That's really nice. It seems really just, like a very virtuous thing to do. Chad had taken 2 showers since finishing the race, and he had slept until after 8 in the morning. His clothes were clean, but he hadn't shaved. The plane was met by a cheering crowd, friends and relatives of the mushers who were flying back with Chad. Susie was there. The day before, she had gone to the airport to pick up Chugger. The vet had told her that there wasn't much she could do to fix Chugger's hip, but that her hip would probably be okay as long as she didn't try to pull sleds or do heavy work. So it sounds like Chugger's going to be okay, but won't be racing in any more races or pulling heavy things anymore. The first thing Susie did was to find Denali and give him a whole lot of hugs and kisses. It's her dog, right? She whispered to him, "You are a hero. I knew you would be. You're wonderful." She's like so happy to see her dog again. All right, so how did Chad get from Nome to Alaska, or get from Nome to Anchorage? Yeah, by airplane. And everybody, was Chad the only musher on the plane? Nope. And who met Chad at the airport? Yeah, Susie. And what had she done the day before? Yeah, she went to the airport to pick up Chugger. All right, so let's see. Let's read the rest of the story to yourself. Get ready to answer some questions. And Bob's going to finish reading too. Aren't you? Aren't you, Bob? Oh, you're kind of finished now. All right, finish reading the story. Okay, if you're still reading, please pause the video. Wow. So second graders, what did Chad tell Susie he wanted to do with Denali? Yeah, make him a regular wheel dog for the next Iditarod. So he's already planning for the next year's race. And who did Chad plan to practice with the next summer? Yeah, Siri Carlson. And what did Siri and Chad do later on? They got married. Oh, that's nice. All right, so they got married. Everybody, how many more Iditarods did Denali run in? 6 more. And who was the musher for the last of those races? It was Susie. Wow. Isn't that special? Susie became a musher, just like Chad. All right, and second graders, you'll notice there is a box at the end of the story. So there's supposed to be a picture that shows the end of the story, but the picture's missing. What do you think the picture should show? So if we think about what are you visualizing, what are you imagining in your mind as we finish the story, and you can think about what picture would you put there. So maybe you're imagining Susie and Denali. Maybe you're picturing Siri and Chad after they cross the finish line. Maybe something that happened after the race. What are you imagining? So that's kind of one of the really neat things about reading is that we are all imagining and picturing and visualizing something different. So it's kind of neat to think about what are you imagining as we finish the story. All right, so that is the end of our story about the Iditarod sled dog race. Awesome. So what did you think of the story? It's kind of interesting. I think it was really interesting to learn about the Iditarod sled dog race, which I didn't know too much about, and to get a sense for what would it feel like to be on the trail with the dogs and it being so cold and all the challenges and the fierce weather and blizzard. Ooh, makes you glad to have a cozy little place to be home at. All right, so second graders, what are we going to do next? You're going to reread the story one more time on your own. You're going to answer the questions at the end of the story, complete your workbook, and read for 20 more minutes. And then tomorrow we're going to have a little test on our story. And tomorrow we will also have usually we do a test on one day, and then we have like our reading checkout on another day. Tomorrow we're going to try to do both. I think we're ready to do both. So we'll do just a little 10-question test, and then we'll do our reading checkout. So if you wanted to start early, you could practice the passage for our oral reading checkout, which is going to be on page 145. So flower to flower on page 145. And it starts with after Susie asks about, was Denali a hero? And then Chad says, well, I guess you could say that, Chad replied. I was proud of all the dogs, and Denali certainly did his share, maybe even more than his share. Okay, so if you wanted to get a head start and practice that, you can do that today. And then next week, we'll start reading about knights and castles to prepare for King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Okay. Have a great day, scholars, and Bob and I wanted to say, good work. Good work today, readers. Say bye, Bob. Bobby. Oh, Bob is just so sleepy. Are you so sleepy? Yeah, okay. Cats get very sleepy, don't they? Dogs do. Okay. Bye, readers.